I miss a lot. A couple months ago, I discussed some mods for Sonic Generations and what to use to have a definitive experience with the game. A lot of people enjoyed it, and the Generations modding community has seen a few breakthroughs in recent memory. On top of that, some people brought up a few things I neglected to mention last time, so I gotta fulfill the prophecy and talk about Quick Boot Plus. Also, I just want to mention, this discussion isn't gonna be properly structured like the last one, since there aren't nearly as many mods to cover this time. I'm just gonna talk about certain mods that I think are worth picking up, whether it's essential to experience the game proper, or if it's something that I just think is pretty cool. With all that said, let's refill the Sonic Generation shaped hole in my desktop as we take a look at even more Sonic Generations mods. To start us off, I mentioned that the Direct 3D 9EX mod would be soon replaced by a version with the newer Direct 3D 11 renderer, and now, that mod is upon us. It comes with all the perks of Direct 3D 9EX as well as simply being more optimized for newer machines. This is especially useful for those who want to play on the Steam Deck, as it's actually playable whenever using this mod. The Wall Jump Fix mod patches up this issue where Sonic wouldn't slowly fall off a wall while standing idle for too long. He'd stick to the wall before abruptly falling off. Now, thanks to this mod, it restores to how it was in the original console versions. Seaside Hill enhancements replaces the Sonic Unleashed enemies in Seaside Hill with the actual enemies from Sonic Heroes. I don't know why this wasn't already in the game, but there you go. Now, this one I wouldn't really recommend getting now, but the Classic Sonic Improvement mod balances Classic Sonic and makes him a bit more faithful to the Genesis games. The reason I say not to get this now is because a newer version of this mod is coming out with far more enhancements, making Sonic's model more accurate to the trailers and box art, adding the drop dash and peel out, and even changing the badniks to be more accurate. You can still pick this up now, but I wouldn't call this a definitive way to play Classic Sonic in this game right now. This one's kind of funky, but the Configuration Mismatch Fix mod fixes one of those problems I mentioned last time, where Generations would give you an error when you change any little setting about your computer. However, I tried this mod on my 120Hz laptop after unplugging it from my monitors, and it still gave me the error message. Maybe it's something that has to do with my computer, maybe it's things that I've changed about the root of the game without knowing, I don't know. You can try this if you want though. The Better Sonic Generations config tool isn't really a mod, more a necessity. It fixes literally every single issue the original config tool had by completely redesigning it, as well as getting rid of that pesky error message that forced you to download Microsoft C++ that I mentioned last time. If I knew this existed beforehand, I would have said to do that rather than downloading Microsoft C++, but whoops. Unleashed Sweep Kick brings back the little kick Sonic does by spamming the crouch button in Sonic Unleashed. I never use this, but cool. Quick Boot Plus allows you to immediately jump to any stage when opening Generations by selecting a stage in the Hedge mod manager. Although, there is a possibility that this mod can corrupt your save file, so make sure that you have a backup for just in case that happens. This has happened to me before, and I had to download a 100% save file to compensate. Please back up your save files. Customize Sonic is probably the most impressive out of all of these mods I'm going to bring up today. By pressing the select button, Sonic now has access to a bunch of different shoes, gloves, and other gear from Sonic's past. The soap shoes, Chip's bracelet, the freaking Link getup from Sonic Lost World DLC, you name it, it's probably here. Unfortunately, this mod doesn't work properly with the free cam mod, so taking pictures with this is going to be a little bit more complicated. Speaking of changing up Sonic, the Transform Sonic mod depicts Sonic after transitioning. But not just that, the mod also gives Sonic all new voice lines for when she stays idle, finishes a combo, completes a stage, fights a boss, sees the freaking tornado in Crisis City. It's only a matter of time until the developer adds a line that Sonic says when you close the game like in Mario 64 DS. Bounce Attack Plus replaces the Stomp attack with the bounce from Sonic Adventure 2. You can spam it or even do a proper stomp by holding down the button if you enable that in the Hedge mod manager. Finally, the Real Silver mod replaces Sonic with Silver the Hedgehog and gives him immediate access to assistance from Blaze, and the ability to hover with the Psychokinesis. He's got his own animations, voice clips, and so much more. Now, those are mods that either came out after I talked about Generations mods, or ones that I completely forgot to mention. However, I did get people asking me how to order these mods, as not ordering them correctly can cause some serious issues. The order goes from top to bottom. Top takes priority going down to the bottom, which has the least priority. Sonic Frontiers apparently has this backwards in the mod manager though. I don't know if it's a bug or if it's intentional, but Generations is still top to bottom. Put the essential mods such as Direct 3D 11 and the Better FX Pipeline at the top. They're set to go to the top by default anyway, so you shouldn't have to worry about that, but for just in case, put them at the top. Put the fun little extra mods that you have just below those so they'll actually show up and overwrite the things that quality of life improvement mods have that don't allow for custom mods when they're on top. Speaking of those, put the quality of life improvements below the extra mod. I'd recommend placing high res HUD and score generations at the top of this section respectively, since they're the ones that you'd probably want to take front and center anyway. And at the very bottom, put the more code-based mods and bug fixes. Things such as the wall jump fix, Seaside Hill enhancements, and Discord generations would go here. For codes in the mod manager, those put themselves in order automatically, so don't worry about them. And that was the last few mods for Sonic Generations that came out, or I completely forgot about. Everything that I said before still holds true. Generations is still a timeless game that will probably never go stale in the eyes of the modding community. However, I feel that it may see a very slight decline, because Sonic Frontiers has recently received a bunch of mods after the game has only been out for just over a week. Like, they put momentum in the game only 3 days after launch. How? Generations will definitely still have one of the best modding communities, but there's a chance that it may have some competition, or maybe even get dethroned. Or not, since Frontiers has the de novo DRM, making it practically impossible to add custom code. Sega, you don't gain any money from this. Your game's performance suffers from it. People crack your games within the first week. Stop putting de novo in your games!